anyway. So, is everybody ready to dive in?
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. Then we will pick up where we left off. Last session, you had made your way to Kresk, and finding a rather disconcerting welcome, as you had originally intended to potentially sneak up and surveil the abbey before making your climb, you were instead welcomed into the village and told that the abbot awaited your visit. Ascending the mountain above the village where the abbey rests, you found some extremely unusual folk that inhabit it. A number of seeming animal hybrids, human enough in behavior, but mashed with all sorts of creatures. Upon meeting the abbot, who is far more than he initially appears, you were told that, well, that was the best he could do. He brought these lost souls back, and sometimes pieces need mending. You seemed a little bit unsure of how much you could fully trust him, even after he revealed his celestial nature to you. But what is clear is that at least you've gotten some help in your quest. After mentioning that there was a item that was supposed to be prophesized to be here for you, he thought for a moment, realized what it was perhaps that you meant, and simply went to fetch it for you. But not long after he handed it over, and you discovered that it is a holy symbol of significant potency, a new arrival to the scene showed her face. A woman, Esmeralda de Avenir, though you have not gotten her full name yet, descended the stairs with an odd mechanical contraption instead of one of her lower limbs. The shock on von Richten's face was extremely evident, and as she locked eyes with him, she seemed extremely displeased to see him. And we pick up right after her narrowing her eyes and going, "You." Von Richten would immediately shoot to his feet. And he's normally pretty composed, right? At least puts on a good show of it, but he kind of takes a half step as though he wants to reach out to her, steadies himself, and just kind of almost petulantly shoves his hands down at his sides, and kind of turns up his nose. Imagine seeing you here. You would have found your way into such a place. And she just kind of cocks an eyebrow at all of his absolutely falling apart, and will walk slowly across the room. You can see her eyes kind of scan over the party, but she will just gently trail a hand across the back of Irina's shoulders, and Irina has a look of recognition with this woman, but is still a little bit surprised by the touch, and she will reach out and kind of wrap an arm around von Richten's shoulders. Von Richten, it has been so long since we have seen each other face to face. And her other hand kind of gently comes up next to his, chin and kind of strokes down his neck. And she grabs something under his shirt and says, "But not long enough." And you hear a click, and with a pop and a little puff of smoke, he vanishes. Just, you can tell it was a teleport effect of some sort, but I think it's maybe a Arcana would tell you more.
Well, there's one thing Nolig's good at. It's that.
You just jinxed the shit out of yourself.
Nolig's gonna squint his eyes and think real hard.
Let's go.
Ooh, that is quite good. It looks to you, it's not the exact spell, but the effect was clearly Word of Recall. It is a instantaneous teleport effect that you set a save point, and you establish that beforehand, you cast the spell, and then within a certain amount of time, you can speak that word, and you and your allies are whisked back to it. But you can see this was something stored in a charm or totem that she presumably broke to trigger the effect. She kind of dusts her hands off and turns to the party. He will be fine, of course. In fact, he's probably not all that far away if he hasn't changed where that leads. But I think we should speak perhaps without interruptions. And she turns to the abbot. If you would not mind, Father, perhaps you could give us the room.
Is
And
her accent supposed to be Barovian?
it's
Or
Barovian,
Vistana?
but with, yes, she is very clearly a Vistana. And
Okay.
it has a lilt to it like she's been outside the fog. It's not as thick as the others, but it's clearly got that Vistana taint to it as well.
Daywalker.
Mhm.
She's both.
Taint. Damn, that's a fucked up thing to say.
What can I say? The abbot considers it. Of course, you are an honored guest, as much as they are. For now, I will simply clarify that if you wish, you are welcome to spend the night anywhere you see fit on the grounds, and if it is a little bit too close to my progeny, I would be happy to arrange a place for you in the village as well. I know it is not always the easiest to travel at night. But if you need further of me, all you must do is ask aloud for the abbot, and I shall hear you. And he will bow his head a little bit. Come, Vasilka. And he will take her by the elbow and gently lead her out of the room. Esmeralda, with very little hesitation, plonks down in his seat and kicks her feet up on the table, the mechanical leg making a solid thunk. So you are the new outsiders. A capable enough looking bunch. And with a little wave towards Irina. It's lovely to see you again. But last time you were, and she holds out like a hand to the side, indicating like 8 or 9 years old. You've grown. And Irina just kind of, I thought you had somehow left Barovia. I did. But, well, what can I say? Home always calls you back. And she turns to the rest of the group. I don't mean to be presumptuous, but perhaps names are in order? And she looks to, I don't know, Ayakobachi first.
I'm Agobachi Balderson, Talon of Malar, extraordinary hunter, and pretty impressed. You just, vanished our companion there. He's a pretty tough cookie, and that's pretty awesome.
She chuckles. Interesting to see a follower of Malar here. Not a common name spoken aloud and admitted. And yet I see Kelimvor's symbol. But no worries about the magic. It was mine originally, but not mine now. A charm easily laid and easily triggered. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. As I have no doubts von Richten has not explained, I am Esmeralda de Avenir. Previous, I suppose you could say protege. Though, these days, I think the student has perhaps surpassed the master. But she turns to you, Ervier, having pointed out your crest.
I'll raise an eyebrow at her feet kicked up on the table, but very obviously like, really? In a church? But also won't really say anything about it.
She kind of shrugs, but she catches your look. She's just like,
just a very simple Ervier Hollowbrook death clergy.
I am certain you are finding plenty of work in these lands. Perhaps we
Not
could
the kind I'd
exchange some
prefer.
information. Ah,
Mhm.
I suppose that is fair as well. And a tiefling. Curious.
Yep, I'm Rawmere. I'm just kind of got myself in this situation.
Funny how that happens. By your accents, I am assuming Ferunian, yes?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Do Kalimvor and Malar have influence outside of Faerun?
Oh, I think you would be surprised. Among those that trot between planes, followers settle down here and there, and though influence can be weakened if you are far enough from your own sphere, reverence for one's deity is not bound by the dimensions as much as you would think.
Even if
And she looks to you finally, Narlug, real quick. Although, if you were going to talk, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say how even in Faerun, Yakobachi will comment how many people who follow Malar don't even call him Malar. They all have their own name for him, but all in all, it's all the same type of
Mhm.
thing.
Ah, a surprisingly nuanced point. And true, many of these entities go by many names, and belief is a nebulous thing. Perhaps such a symbol, she gestures behind her to the massive sunburst behind her, is familiar to you, but not by the name the Morning Lord.
That was my immediate thought when Yakobachi brought that up. It does lend a lot of credence to a lot of hypotheses, but hard to test unless we were to ask directly.
And difficult to make long distance pleas here. She says, gesturing kind of up at the sky where you know the fog and the clouds linger. But she does kind of lean forward a little bit and steeple her fingers, looking at you, Narlug. I have a feeling perhaps you and I have a lot to talk about. Going by the robes, that is.
I have Narlug, an orc on a quest to seek knowledge, and a woman of the night. I somehow ended up in your mysterious land in the company of these fine kings.
And she would just belly laugh at all of that. I like him already. A perhaps unusual introduction for a spellcaster, particularly of the wizardly persuasion. But, well, as I said, though I am no lady of the night, at least not in that sense, there is knowledge to be shared. And she will reach into a pocket that is far too small to contain the book that she pulls out, which from
And
all of
Narlug's
the
eyes are
like
gonna light up.
pages wedged in and like clear runes and fancy inlay on the cover is obviously a spell book. And she'll tap it against her forehead and just kind of gesture, when we have time.
Yeah,
And will
Narlug will pull
pocket
his out and kind of mimic what she did.
it.
Well, I guess this is how we greet each other as wizards. Okay. Narlug's gonna jot that down in his little book of mannerisms that he's trying to remember.
I love it. But yeah, just through this whole thing, kind of the body language, the behavior you get from her, she reads much more like pirate than stuffy old vampire hunter or wizard. Like she's got all sorts of bangles and baubles and like the big coat. But like there's the clear Vistani influence there as well. Lots of bright colors. Um, and yet, the weaponry hanging at her side is also a clear indication that she is not here to mess around. She has a basket hilted rapier and a big old hatchet just like slung on the side of her belt. Um, Again, I do apologize for such a drastic introduction, but, well, Von Richten and I have a complicated past, and I would rather him not undermine what I have to say to you. You have come, presumably, quite far to be here. Most new arrivals land in Barovia village, and, well, to make it here hale and hearty, you must have at least spent some time and gotten used to these lands. You know the state of things. You know who rules Barovia. You know who must be deposed. But perhaps there are complexities you are not aware of. I was attempting to lie in wait until our shadowy overlord came to attain that holy symbol that you hold. But, well, I suppose such an ambush will not work anymore. Though I do not know you well, and though you do not know me, I wish to cooperate. Would this be amenable?
Can Yakobachi roll insight to see if she really wants to cooperate, if she's got some type of Realmir type scheme that she's trying to scheme up?
Go ahead. Yeah, insights all around, if you would like.
I've been around Realmir long enough to know a scheme when I hear one. A
I
scam.
don't think Irvina's even gonna bother. He'll just ask. Like, we're certainly open to all the help we can get, but Von Richten's been a staunch ally of ours since quite early after we've arrived, and while we don't always agree with his methods, we've been able to steer him into a more thoughtful
Driving me
approach
nuts.
more often than not. If you can explain a little bit on what had you two part, I think that would do a lot to assuage any concerns I may have.
She nods, and the two of you that rolled insight there, I think Ralmir in particular, you get the feeling, and I bet you pick up all of this but this first part. She doesn't really care who you all are. Like, that's the DC 20. She just sees a group that is opposed to Strahd. But what the 15 or above catches is that, yes, she clearly wants to work together, and her hatred of Von Richten is something she's barely willing to put aside, but you catch like a sincere every time she says our Dark Lord or Strahd or any of that. There's like she almost spits as she says it because of how angry his existence makes her.
Gotcha.
But to you, Irvir, it is not a happy tale, but it is one I am willing to tell, and I do think perhaps it will make clear why why it is difficult to even share a room with him. But if you have allied with him, and if you have seen him to be useful to your cause, he could be tolerated.
For
And
what it's worth, he has saved Irina's life on at least one occasion.
I do not doubt his piousness or his usefulness, but, well, there have been many wrongs dealt between us throughout the years. Let me start from the beginning. And because this is a very long story, I'm going to tell it to you paraphrased,
That's
but
fair.
feel free to cut in at any point. Um, she explains that she was born to a Vistana family here in Barovia. Though not all Vistani are from these lands, she is truly a native. When she was a very young girl, old enough to remember, but not old enough to be directly party to any of these events, her family kidnapped von Richten's teenage son, Erasmus, and delivered him to the clutches of Strahd. Even years later, she says she's still haunted by hearing the boy scream for mercy, and it put her childhood in a very grim light. And I think to you, Ralmir, that feels very familiar. And you can see in her eyes, there is that haunted affect. She puts on this kind of carefree attitude, but it's a cover for hollowness. She goes on to explain that soon after the kidnapping, but not after they'd already sold the boy, von Richten tracked them down. And though he could have killed them, he instead interrogated her parents, decided that he was satisfied with their answers, and spared their lives even if he marked both of their cheeks with a scar for their transgressions. Though he did harm her parents, she was still amazed by this mercy, and that drove her to find her again. When she was a teenager, she ran away from home, and after the difficult task of tracking down a master vampire hunter who roamed the continent. And you see that implies the core itself, somewhere outside of the fog. She did eventually track him down. Originally, he assumed she was a Vistana assassin there to kill her, and actually beat her in the initial conflict and had his sword to her throat. But she convinced him that she genuinely wanted to help him, attempting to find, anything she could do. We can find your son, we can bring him back. And von Richten told her the truth, which is that he had already found Erasmus, who had been transformed into a vampire spawn. And when the boy pleaded for salvation, von Richten gave it to him at the end of a stake. Von Richten was willing to take her on as a protege, and they worked together. They slew many of these greater undead, hunted several different, lichens and things throughout the lands. But he could never really let himself trust her. That scar on their past was too much, and he began to keep secrets. And over time, they started to argue more and more. She wanted nothing but him to finally trust her. And she swore that if he couldn't do that, she couldn't be by his side anymore. And when she chose to leave, he told her that she had been a waste and that everything he had ever taught her was for naught, and he hoped he never saw her again. And she sighs and kind of, for a moment she's quiet, and she flexes the leg with the prosthetic and kind of thumps back onto the table. I was still young then, and thought I was, well, nothing but full of piss and vinegar, and I went out hunting on my own again. It was then that a lichen took my leg, and I came back here, knowing that there was a master craftsman in these lands that could, well, restore me some of my own independence. I may have had to threaten him at sword point, but Fritz von Weirg was able to build me a new leg. And seeing how bad things had grown in my absence, even if none of my family is still around to partake in the rot here, I still feel I should right the wrongs and deal with Strahd any way that I can.
Do we know that craftsman name?
Yes, Fritz von Weirg was mentioned to you once before. The bizarre magical, or I guess more tinkered tailoring dummies that the smith in town has that just resize to you and kind of clone your shape. They're think like a dress form, but it just automatically you touch it and it just mimics your shape. He mentioned that they were made by a brilliant inventor, and that was Fritz von Weirg. And also Blinksy mentioned that he wished he could make puppets with as much intricacy as that master craftsman. And it is spelled, it should be in your notes, but it is...
Probably is somewhere.
Spelled like that.
It's fun.
Here's the Zachary version of those notes right here.
Erasmus. Erasmus. The kid's name. But otherwise, let's see.
Is the implication that Fritz was around a long time ago and he's now dead? Because no one has mentioned where he is.
That is what you had heard. You could ask her about
Although
it.
she probably knows, yeah. Although that doesn't... This isn't the time to ask that specific question after the trauma dump.
I'm just saying, you might want to add it to she might know. She does say she had him make a prosthetic for her, so...
Yeah.
Well, I'll just comment that sorry to hear that your pack had to go their separate ways. I've been lucky to have my pack, and we've stuck together for a while now. So I could see how that would upset me too.
There's a lot to take
And
in. Sounds like some apologies are in order.
She kind of huffs a sigh at that. It would be welcome, and I'm certain that I owe some of my own. But as no doubt you have seen, he is stubborn. But if you think you can convince him, feel free to try.
I crack my hands.
The master persuasion.
As much as I would love to see that, I don't wish the old bastard any harm. In fact, all I ever wanted was to work with him. He was, well, as embarrassing as it is to admit, he was much like a father to me in that time. As I said, my own parents were of ill moral compass. Von Richten instilled some proper dignity in my view of the world. It hurt more than I want to admit that he turned me away so easily.
And I'll just butt in and just saying I have family issues myself too, so I can relate to that. And then I try to ask him for advice, so and he end up being racist against infernals.
Well, the
Guys, make me
racism
kind of
was a
happy
big
I'm an
part of
orphan.
it. uh, yeah, so she mentions like the racism was a big part of it and kind of gestures at her own skin tone and looks at you, Irvir. I think in some ways perhaps it's easier, but I know that was hard as well, I have no doubt. I suppose we're all fucked by fate in one way or another. Eh?
Well,
You
we
don't
are all
become an
here.
adventurer because of a happy home.
I'm a priest.
And yet, I don't think the followers of Kelemvor mostly wait in their temples. There are plenty of
Half of
people who
them do.
die not at the altar. She clearly doesn't know the distinction. She knows of Kelemvor, but and you are a death guide, right? Like your aim is to
No,
you're
I'm
or
explicitly not a Doom Guide.
well,
I am Death
not a
Clergy.
doom
I am the
guide, death
priest that
clergy.
gives
That's
last
what I meant.
rites.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But you go to where they're needed. You are not a hunter, but you still would be a traveling priest. I thought that was how I understood it, anyway.
Yeah, there should be yeah, they're
You should
but
be
it's
with
not
a
like
retinue.
adventuring per se.
Yes.
Not even necessarily a retinue, but there's probably merchant caravans that travel between
Sure.
settlements and whatever. It's not supposed to be adventuring as much as it is traveling.
Of course. But I think I use that word more in character than out of character, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. I think in this world, anybody who sets off further than 10 miles from their village they're from
Yeah.
is kind of an
You're
adventurer
not
at
just a
heart.
farming serf.
In some
Right.
way, shape, or
You're
form.
gonna
You're
run into
not
all sorts
content
of
to
shit on the
just
road.
sit and stagnate. You want to see the world. Um, but she just kind of, in a physical representation, attempts to wave away the bad vibes and kind of leans forward, foot clunking onto the floor properly, elbows on the table. So those are my cards. Face up, down on the table. And hopefully you can understand at least a little bit where I am coming from. I just want this undead bastard destroyed. I will work with whoever, as long as that is accomplished. Even if it is, well, that salty old man. There are advantages to having a Vistana on your side as well, of course.
Are you able to travel freely through the fog?
She nods. Indeed I am. The blood flows fully in my veins. I can travel without, or within or without. But, well, it is a curious thing. Passengers are not allowed to me. That belongs solely to the caravan leaders. And seeing as I have been excommunicated, well, I think I would have a little bit of trouble with convincing them to permit you out. But there are other aspects of the blood you may not know about. Perhaps you have heard of the evil eye? It is not such a metaphorical thing with my people. And that, well, grants certain other advantages when it comes to our Dark Overlord. She kind of looks around the room. This must be as safe a place as any, but... and you can see her make the quick hand gestures for detect magic, and she sweeps around, you assume looking for scrying orbs. There are certain defenses in his castle that, well, they are naturally disabled in the presence of my kind, to allow passage in or out without having to trouble the master. Deliveries of new playthings, or wine, or food, or other entertainments. They will recognize me as one of them.
That's possibly the best news we could have received right now. Assuming we can find a way to counter some of that divination.
She nods.
But before
go ahead.
Before we make our final assault there, we've been, over the last day, started to plan a short jaunt into the castle itself in search of, well, 2 counts of remains, 1 a dragon, 1 a dusk elf, and 1 count of hopefully still alive tavern keeper.
She quirks an eyebrow. Perhaps you've been busier than I thought.
We've been here about a week. And each
Quite
day
busy.
seems to bring its own challenges.
Well, as you know, they are troubled lands, and everybody has a handout for assistance. It comes to those of us with means to decide which ones we grasp. Sometimes you cannot save them all.
We've done our best to do so. We've made some very significant allies while we're here.
And that is good. I'm sure we will need all of them. As you no doubt can surmise, whether or not I can get in and out of the castle, I have no doubt, despite my capabilities, that I would be no match for the bastard myself. We will need... well, what is the saying? It takes a village?
With any luck, if we can get in and out, we may have the assistance of the Knights of the Silver Dragon.
I have met Vladimir Horngard, or what remains of him. He was not particularly agreeable, but
No,
I
he does
think
not want to
there
kill
is-
him.
And that seems to actually surprise her.
He wants him to suffer. And so killing him would be freeing him from suffering in his eyes, but I think we can use them all the same.
She seems to kind of digest that for a moment. A sort of twisted reasoning, but one I can understand nonetheless. I don't agree, but I can understand where he's coming from. So what do you think you can get from him for, I assume, these draconic remains, given their worship of Argynvost?
In our conversation, I told him that if I couldn't kill Strahd, at the very least, I'd like to rescue as many people as I could from Barovia, and that he seemed to be agreeable on. Said, yeah, that makes sense for what we would expect from you, and that doesn't hinder our plans, so yeah, works for us. Now, how many people do they have to actually storm the castle, or whatever else, who knows, but certainly take whatever we can get.
It is a thought. There is something to be said there, perhaps. I don't think a frontal assault is going to be in our best interests at any point, unless it is as a distraction. It is, well, a castle, after all, and there is no army to raise in these lands in order to siege it properly. But I think enough noise, and, well, Strahd's attention will be pulled to wherever we make it. And though I'm sure they were once ancient virtuous knights, well, you've seen what remains of them. If they were to fall, they will simply rise again. A disposable distraction, perhaps, if we can secure these remains.
I don't like the idea of calling them disposable, more like
I,
reusable, but I would like them to
Oh, shit.
find their final rest. Which, if the object of their ire is no more, then there is no more oath to be followed.
Hmm.
That should
And she
grant them
kind of
peace.
she nods. Semantics. Disposable,
Yeah.
reusable. It seems as though your end result is for them to stay dead anyway. And I agree. Whether or not Vladimir wishes to be locked in eternal combat,
Sit.
I think the rest would be happy to see their foe slain.
um, I have an idea. So, if we're looking for people that are disposable, though, there just happens to be a cult that thinks I'm some kind of prophecy. You might be able to
Ah,
convince. It's a long story, but
she's interested though. She listens.
there's a
Go
whole bunch of
on.
people that think I'm like some kind of savior. We could possibly use a whole bunch of cult members.
Fuck them cults, dude. Who cares what
Well,
they
we
do?
were planning on assassinating their leader. I don't know how endeared they'd feel to us after that.
Well, if you manipulate them into doing your bidding, I have a feeling that Strahd will assassinate her for you. If you can convince them to siege the castle. I think that is what Ralmir is implying.
Yeah,
No?
yeah, that's what I was. Because when you said disposable, that was the first thing that came to my mind.
I'm not saying that they can't be of use, just that we'll have to pivot that plan a little bit. So we'll think about how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an idea, though. Just something to, if we need people, and may be able to convince some people
Also,
for a distraction.
I don't know if anybody noticed that. I think I said her, even though Esmeralda doesn't know who you're talking about, because I know they is what she would have said. She is not aware of who you're speaking of.
Right.
Um, but see, this is good. The point is, we will need to adapt to each other's best laid plans. She kind of looks out the window, and the sun is getting low, but it is not down yet. If you would like, the place where I'm fairly certain Von Richten's trinket sent him is not far, and is safe for the night. Though it is not the comfiest accommodations, it is a place where we could rest, away from any prying eyes. And, well, I have to look the bastard in the eye eventually. It's probably best if we have everyone together. Would you like to make the trip tonight, or shall we wait for morning?
How long would it take us to get there?
She
Before the
thinks.
sun falls completely?
I would think so, as long as you are all able to keep a decent marching pace. And I will admit I am not the fastest, but for me, an hour, perhaps. I would think plenty of time.
We should go then before Van Richten gets his own ideas and heads out.
Yeah.
She nods. Very well
As
then.
much as I have a few more questions I'd like to ask our host, those can wait.
Well, I don't wish to hurry you away, but if you think they can wait, then so be it. I need but a moment to collect my effects. And she will hop up, grab a glass of wine off the table that had been set just in front of the abbot's seat, and we'll head back up the stairs. Then you can hear her clump of her prosthetic as it heads somewhere down the hall up top, leaving you all alone. And I'll let you all talk amongst yourselves, but I think Irina would just point out she's very different than I knew her when she was a child. No less driven, but certainly rougher around the edges. I think we can probably trust her, but she shrugs. I don't like this conflict we might be dealing with.
Well, I like her. I think she'll be a good addition to the pack.
Darla's gonna nod along. She knows magic. I need to pry her brain.
A lifetime of hunting monsters will do that to you. And having the old man give her an apology might be easier than we think. He has softened a little bit since we first met up with him. Maybe he's come around to seeing the more humane side of things again now that he hasn't been in isolation.
That's true enough. Yeah, hopefully the next meeting ends in at least a handshake and not a fist fight. But she'll shake her head and stand up, and you can see her like pulling out her cloak and fastening it, getting ready for travel and everything. But yeah, if there's anything you guys wanted to say while Relda's out of the room, they are welcome to do so. Got a couple of minutes. If not, we can just fast forward.
I think we're all pretty much in the trust camp.
For now.
Fair enough.
She might have good information about this area too to help us figure out the rest of, these tarot cards. Well, really the one that.
That's I was gonna ask the abbot about the Mother Night Shrine, because I think that's the one we don't have like any info on at all.
Exactly, that's nothing. I have no notes on that one. The wolves in the hills overlooking the mountain lake.
Yeah, I don't think you guys have come across any leads for that yet. And
either him or Casimir will know.
Yeah.
And it's possible too that Esmeralda might. She's worth asking. Just you get the feeling she doesn't spend a lot of time in town.
We should thank our host, but say goodbye before we leave anyway. So we might as well summon him for our leaving anyway.
Just throw out a clap.
Not quite.
Well, what did you say? We should thank our host, or did you say we should thank the abbot?
Yeah,
thank our host. I haven't said abbot yet.
Okay.
I was gonna thank the abbot.
Well, that's the idea, is to thank the abbot. But since he said if you say abbot, he would come running. But I think Irvi would make a point to summon him like as respectfully as he thinks he can. Which is still a weird thing to just say someone's name and have them appear. Which has happened before, and it was really unpleasant, but, you know.
Mike doesn't believe in Joe Hendry.
I didn't, and then he appeared, and then I was forced to. So I think he'll clasp his hands and say, Venerable Abbot, we wish to give you our regards before we sojourn for the evening.
With a obnoxiously over the top, like trumpet peal and a radiant, blast of sunlight, he just pops back into existence. Oh, sorry. I'm used to dealing with the townsfolk. You know how it is. You have to appear as holy as possible. Yes, I understand you'll be leaving earlier than expected, and that is acceptable. I was happy to have you grace my hall, and I will be happy for you to return. Even more so if you are able to deliver that gift for dear Vasilka.
We'll do our best. Before we leave, do you happen to know of the whereabouts of a shrine to Mother Night?
Well, she is a curious creature. There are several. Perhaps could you narrow that down a bit for me? Though she doesn't exactly have her churches, there are many homes with secret shrines to the Dark Mother.
What was that prophecy again, Yakobachi? I actually have it pulled up now, but
It's by a den, that over a wolf, den of wolves in the hills overlooking a mountain lake.
Ah, truly curious. Yes, yes, there is a... I'm not even sure if tribe is the right term. So much as pack, perhaps. But a pack of poor souls afflicted with lycanthropy. They dwell in the northern mountains, perhaps ranging from a little ways east of here to nearly all the way back toward Lake Zarevich. But I would think Lake Baratok, just to the east, is probably the lake of which it speaks. I know not the location of their den in particular, but there are many caves that dot the western, or the eastern edge of the western spur of the mountains. I would probably begin your search there. And he
we expect
smiles like he knows more than he's letting on, but that's what he's willing to give you.
should we expect them to be hostile?
Well, most lycanthropes are. Poor
Sure.
afflicted things.
But of course you're aware of Lord Kellenvor's history as a mortal, so we know there are always exceptions to the rule.
Exceptions, yes. But, well, given the number of missing villagers in these parts, I would not expect a friendly welcome.
I'll probably just turn and look at Yakobachi.
Yakobachi is going to walk around and say, Abbott, you are a prophet. We appreciate your information and your hospitality. I want to give you this, and he's going to reach in his bag, and he's going to give him that severed hand from that druid that he cut off way back when we were traveling to the hill. And he's going to say, this is a holy symbol of my god, Malar, and maybe you can use it for your next resurrection.
Let me think about how we would react to that.
How does it keep? Because I haven't been casting Gentle Repose on it.
It's fine. I mean, it's been there for a few days. Probably pretty nasty.
Yeah, probably pretty rank. Did you like string it on a cord, or is it literally just the hand?
I would say that it's like up to the wrist, and then I strung like a thing around it to make it like a necklace.
Something to make it like, yeah,
So
okay.
you could hang. You know what I mean?
Like dry it like leather or anything? Like tan it?
It might dry out a little bit, but it's probably still pretty gross.
It's sun dried.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that there's not enough prep, that it's just putrefied.
Yes, I would expect that to be the case. I think this is a man who's always looking for spare body parts, no matter how gross they might be. I think he would gingerly reach out and take it by the string. And kind of consider it for a moment. That is very generous of you. I will certainly make use of it in my next project. Thank you, Ayakubachi. And he just kind of makes a motion as though he's going to grab it, and it just kind of vanishes, you assume, into some sort of spatial storage.
Hopefully somewhere that's spell proof.
Our last immediate concern is the scrying that the Dark Lord can be performing at any given time, which makes it difficult to lay plans to free this land freely. Do you know of any methods we might be able to counter that?
Let me think. I think there's actually something you guys are missing. No. Well, unless any of you are particularly high level, in terms he's speaking of the spell level, arcane casters, I don't believe so. 1 second, Jake is pinging me. Though there are certain places where such things do not work. Hallowed ground, such as this, spaces properly warded by a skilled abjurer, and certainly, well, if you were to be able to maintain constant vigilance, the most common forms of scrying all have a perceptible component, as long as one is able to see magic. But I am afraid there are many things in the fog that listen. But do think of what you know of vampires. The fog is an extension of our dear Dark Lord. There are many places he cannot enter. Private homes, places of worship. Unless you invite him in, his eyes and ears cannot join you.
Fortunately, we also spend a lot of time on the road.
That,
Which means he
I am
could
afraid...
just watch us walk right up.
Yes, that may be difficult. I would think perhaps even simple magics. Surely you know the lesser miracle, protection from evil and good.
Yes.
I do.
Such a thing does not offer true shielding from such attempts at scrying, but may make you more difficult to notice. If he focuses intently, I have no doubt he would be able to find you anyway. But, well, it might make you into something that seems far smaller in his eyes, easier to overlook.
We'll have to take that into
So,
consideration.
like, if we reduce ourselves, just be...
No, my friend, I was not speaking so literally. I merely mean that, well, things that are smaller are harder to spot, And it was, as they say, a metaphor. You get to feel like this is like a weird angel dude that doesn't quite understand if you were making a joke.
It's a half
Or
joke.
yeah, but he just it bounces off of his
Right
skull, and
over.
he just patiently explains to you what he meant. Yes, immortal brain doesn't work quite the same way. But yeah, he just kind of smiles vacantly at you, Rolmir. I do hope that was of assistance, he says, turning back to Ervir.
Given us quite a bit to think on. And I think the answer to that question similarly answers a lot that we'll have to consider when dealing with the hags that are on the run.
Oh
Perhaps
yeah,
on the
them.
hunt.
I think Casimir can help us with that. We just gotta get his sister's bones.
Um,
I have a sneaking suspicion that the place we're about to travel with Esmeralda will be one such places where we are safe at night,
Hopefully,
as well as where we are currently standing.
hopefully she has the deed and it's hers and she owns it.
What if we
Um,
travel in like a mobile home,
Mm.
like a big tent?
well, you do know of somebody, it's not a tent, but somebody who does have a mobile home. Rictavio's traveling carnival wagon.
He's even in the squad.
I'll just sleep in the cage with the beast.
I was gonna say it's full of panther or tiger or whatever it is right now.
It is currently full of panther. I will point out something, though, Mike, that he just handed to you, and you put the other piece together. I will remind you. Night hags are fiends.
Yeah. It doesn't protect you though. It gives disadvantage.
Keep reading.
And you can be charmed, frightened, or possessed. I didn't know that tags did either of those.
They mentioned that they get into your dreams and feed on your fear. That's
Type
what
of
Von Richten
possession.
warned you about.
Yeah.
They feed on your nightmares.
Or frightenedness, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that was like a literal affliction that needed to be induced while I'm asleep.
But I will also point out, like, that is a hefty cost to get that
Yeah, that
cast on
takes silver
everybody
for-
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it only
It's-
lasts for so long.
I can't do it on everybody.
minutes.
It's concentration.
I would say,
Yep.
yeah, having it like having two people have it with like maybe Narlug and Ervir concentrating on it, it would still be hefty, but at the right time,
It's
could
a
be
holy
really-
water every 10 minutes.
It could be really helpful, you know.
But it might give you something to do if you. I also mentioned they can probably only get one person at a time, and that there will be signs that it is happening. That's
Right.
probably a counter to their effect.
By
That's
a
what I'm
day.
trying to tell you.
Mm.
Because you guys probably, like, if you're in town, I assume you're just all sleeping. But, like, you could start keeping watch, and if someone unexpectedly starts thrashing around in a nightmare, wake Ervir and cast
Yeah.
the spell.
Yeah.
We're gonna need more silver.
What
I have one
what if
unit of
it's
powdered silver.
question?
Silver or
What
iron,
if
I
it's
believe.
Ervir, the
Silver
one
and
that's
iron.
getting
Narlug can cast it.
Narlock?
Guess what?
As
Okay.
long as he has, yeah, he just needs the stuff.
And you've also
Guess
seen
what?
Von Richten cast it as well, I'm pretty sure.
What are we guessing?
It's holy water or powdered silver and iron, so either or that we have, and the silver
Does it
can
have a
also be
cost?
used to make holy water. No, just the component.
Okay, so the implication there is that it's a drop or a small pile of shavings that would be replaced as per, like, refilling your
A
component
focus.
count. So a focus will work there as well. Your holy symbol will function.
Just take such a very specific resource that's so important in this mod.
I assume the holy water is not a vial of holy water. It is a sprinkle of shavings or a drop of holy water. It's
Yeah.
the implication for the component, unless it states like the 50 gold.
It does
Yeah.
not state a gold amount.
No. It does say which the spell consumes, though, which is why I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to take this.
Silvered
It
iron.
does.
That's weird. I never knew that.
I think the specific rules are for a focus replacing spell components. As long as there is not a listed material component cost,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you are
it's
able
always
to
about
use a
the money.
focus. Mhm.
Money, 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 money.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
spell rules were not made with survival horror in mind.
Well, you gotta imagine, it's like if you have a thing of holy water that's enough to splash on a demon and do damage, like, we're gonna pour the whole thing on somebody, like, just get them soaking wet.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fine,
Yeah.
just like you said, like a little drop
That's
on the
true, too.
forehead. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that makes a lot more sense.
But yes, the abbot would wish you well on your journey, and if ever you need to seek my counsel or my benediction, please do return. And in a little flash of light, he is gone again. Right as Esmeralda is coming back down the stairs. She has like a traveling pack on and has put on like a little hooded cowl to kind of go over the coat. It is fucking cold up here. And you see that now it's more than just the rapier and the axe. She has also belted a third weapon onto the left hip. She also has a short sword that you can see because it's in like a leather sheath with the tip visible at the end is clearly silvered. And now also has a bandolier that has several stakes. And she kind of pulls the cowl shut, kind of hiding most of that. I think perhaps it is best that we get on the road. We are losing daylight, and while I know we will make it with plenty of time, well, better not to end up with wet feet on the final approach. You'll see what I mean.
Sounds
And
good.
yeah,
Let's double time.
rather than manually, walking our way all the way out of this map, I'm going to pull you all back to the overview. One moment. And yes, you would wind your way back down the icy mountain path into Kresk itself. And you see that the pile of gifts and offerings outside of the mayor's home has increased. But it seems like as the day is beginning to wane here, most chimneys have a fire going in town. There are almost no people at all on the streets. And as you approach the front gate, the guards open it for you. And though they don't really like wish you well, they do offer you a little bit of a nod and a tip of their helms, and allow you back out into the open world. Esmeralda sets a reasonably quick pace, and she doesn't really talk much on the road. Just kind of strides out ahead. And while her gait is kind of uneven because of this leg, which kind of whirs and clicks as she walks, she doesn't slow you down at all. And she will lead you down the road from Kresk and back across the actual Raven River. And this dotted path is where she will lead you. Give me just 1 second to pull up other prep stuff now that we are in a different spot.
The abbot had mentioned the wolves. Was that east of Barataki? It said in these mountains over
He said
here.
the northern mountains.
I
So
said the northern
So
mountains
is that like, I
on
assume
the
it's like the
eastern
cave
edge.
it
here.
could be that. I mean,
It is the cave there, but yes, you guys
Oh
don't
right,
know
that's
that
not north,
specifically.
right? This is like
I was honestly thinking that was made just to throw you off and make you think it's there, and it would be up here because it's the north. But whatever.
No,
you
that's
know.
what it's for. He meant the northern spur of the mountains because these mountains are also the Valnok
Yeah,
mountains,
yeah.
like the whole thing.
But he meant right by Bartok Lake.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
so we don't know this cave exactly, but we have this general vicinity
But we
to
would
check.
we would definitely see this mountain range. You know what I mean? We know there's mountains up, and we see a lake. So I mean, You know, it's not the craziest thing to think to go that direction. Maybe not
And if we
exactly
go
to that
wandering
spot.
over there into Lycan territory, they're gonna find us before we find them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
That'll be exciting.
But we are very close to them in our hopefully new base, so
Let's see.
there still is the Valaki powder keg to deal with soon.
Mm-hmm. We got a couple days.
I think we do. Just gotta make sure we have enough time to ice Ezek when we get back.
Box them.
Hell yeah.
The old crock box.
At some point during this run, or maybe this light jog, Yakobachi will like become probably like some type of animal, just to be moving quickly and being aware of the surroundings. Probably become like probably become a bear. It's probably my best running around thing.
Fair enough. Then that would get a comment and like a raised eyebrow as you wild shape and
Do a purple bear.
and impressive ability, but perhaps difficult to fit where we are going. And then you see her kind of think, though maybe that will not be a problem. Nah, you will see. But she leads you up through the Svalich Woods. Um, and the road used to be more of a road than it is now. This is like a footpath at best. And there are clearly spots where like they've allowed the bushes and stuff to overgrow the path, and almost you get the feeling like they've encouraged them to do so, and she will like push things up and out of the way and lead you further. But eventually, you come to a cold mountain lake enclosed by misty woods and rocky bluffs. Thick fog creeps across the dark, still waters. The trail ends at a grass-covered causeway that stretches 100 yards across the lake to a flat, marshy island with a stone tower on it. The tower is obviously old and decrepit, with collapsing scaffolds clinging to one side where a large gash has split the wall. Time-worn griffin statues, their wings and flanks covered with moss, perch atop buttresses that support the walls. Parked near the base of the tower, within sight of the entrance, is a barrel-topped wagon spattered with mud. And she kind of sighs, seeing up at the top of the tower that someone has lit a lantern in one of the upper windows. I knew he would still be here. Very well. Mindful of the causeway, there are sections that are made to collapse. Step where I step. And the causeway is like literally, there's like a, barely foot wide section of grass that just barely grows out of the lake. And she will lead you. There's a couple spots like you have to hop. And it is slippery, but not like, acrobatics check slippery. Just if you didn't know where to step, you'd probably end up in the lake. And yeah, I think we can. I don't want to give you the full schematic yet. I will once you're inside. But as you approach, you would see the wagon. And under layers of mud, this wagon sports a fresh coat of purple paint, and its wheels have fancy golden trim. A brass lantern hangs from each corner, and red drapes cover a tombstone-shaped window on each side. A steel padlock secures the back door, hanging from which is a cheap wooden sign that reads, "Keep out," in common. She will hook a thumb at it. My method of transport. But the tower itself is more comfortable. She will lead you to the door, and the tower door is made of iron, with no visible handles or hinges. In the middle of the door is a large embossed symbol, a connecting series of lines with 8 stick figures set around it. Carved into the lintel above the door is a word, Kazan. Uh, and she would sigh. We did not make this tower. This has been here for, well, an age. In fact, maybe several. We are not certain if it stood even before Strahd came to this valley. But, and you see, she begins to follow the sequence and mimics the positions that the stick figures are in with her arms. And you hear a click as she finishes the last one. It has benefits, though I will warn you, magic will not work inside. And she will step over the threshold and inside. And I will take you to the actual map. I need you to tell me, Zaki, if an anti-magic field forces you to not wild shape anymore.
I don't know. It's a pretty good question. Let me just post wild shape.
Where should we put our token?
I'm gonna move you there. Just 1 second.
Oh,
Or sorry, down here, because you don't have vision yet. I was on a
where's
different
down
page.
here? I didn't see a thing.
All the way down. Ping, no, I'm on the GM layer. That's why you don't see a ping.
I don't.
Yeah.
Anti-magic field, I think is. Let's just go look it up. Because it's magically. It says the word magically.
Yep.
I don't know if it's for spells and stuff though. So let me just go look at anti-magic field because I have no fucking clue. What about field? Does field come up faster? Jeez.
And I also need her. Sorry.
Big boy.
Irina. Please come out of the list, Irina. There we go. And also Esmeralda. Sure. And Irina will hesitantly step in after her. Oh, damn.
Away we go. Oh, door stuck. Oh, I'm in.
It is storming something fierce here. Okay. So, as you step in, the flagstone floor is strewn with debris, and a few old crates stand near the east wall. A torn curtain to the south partially obscures the tower vestibule, the entryway. A 5-foot square indentation in the center of the floor contains 4 pulleys attached to taut iron chains that stretch up through a similarly sized hole in the rotted wooden ceiling. Standing next to the chains are 4 tall clay statues. Though we do not know why, the only magic that works here is, well, put here by Kazan himself. The lift will take us up to the top floor where Van Richten is, at least I assume. As far as I am aware, no one else knows how to get in safely. You saw what I did with the symbols. If you need this place, mimic my motions, or else the results can be shocking, shall we say.
Is that a literal shocking?
She nods. Unless you enjoy being struck by lightning several times, just do the silly dance.
Where do we place ourselves?
I think you're muted, Zaki.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do we place ourselves?
Anywhere inside. Down low is the actual initial placement, but you can pop in. She opened the door for you.
And then, just based on reading this really quickly, there's a section that says, creatures and objects. Creatures or objects summoned created by magic temporarily wink out in existence in the sphere. So, I mean, it's kind of like a creature, and it's like kind of magical, so I'm just going to just be Yakobachi.
You just pop back into being you as soon as you move within 5 feet of the tower. But she will gesture for anyone to go first. It is cramped. Perhaps two would work, but we are not all getting on at the same time. And she will yell up the hole, "Old man, we are coming up. Put the sword away." As though she just knows, hearing voices, he would be standing up there ready to strike. But yeah, any two of you
Welcome,
can
wife.
squeeze on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And you see she taps one of the statues on the head and just says, "Up." And sure enough, the lift begins to slowly pull you upwards as they hand over hand reel the chains. And you recognize now that they're moving, they are golems, not just statues. But yeah, we'll just grab people kind of collectively. It'll just take a few minutes. I will just show you briefly. You move up through several ruined floors, full of mostly cobwebs and collapsed floorboards, until where did he go? You arrive on the top floor. Oh, he's on the DM layer. There we go. And he's seated at a little desk here. Unlike the levels below, this room shows signs of recent habitation, and although the place reeks of mold and mildew, it has plenty of creature comforts, including a cozy bed, a desk with a matching chair, bright tapestries, and a large iron stove with plenty of wood to feed it. Sorry if you can hear that, that's the severe weather warning.
Flood warning.
No, actually, monsoon and dust storm warning.
Oh.
Be ready for a
Fun.
sudden drop to zero visibility. Yes, a large iron stove with plenty of wood to feed it. Light enters through arrow slits as well as through a dirt-caked window with broken shutters. Other features of the room include a standing suit of armor and a wooden chest. Old wooden rafters bend under the weight of the tower roof, which has somehow remained intact. You can see the pulleys that mount for the ropes that run the elevator mounted above you. Also, I just saw my lights flicker, so if I randomly vanish, I lost power. But Irina will come up, and so will Esmeralda, who immediately will step off to the other side. And you can see Onrikton, who just kind of makes sure it's you, and did in fact have the sword, like, lazily but held in a hand. Sighs as he hears the click of her prosthetic hit the floor.
You move me up to the room.
Oh, did I not? Were you not in the stack? Oh, you and Irvier are underneath other tokens. I'm sorry.
Oh.
On the DM layer. Move you guys up here. So first, so you can have these floors revealed. And then I will put you up here. But he sighs.
Boom.
Not much of a secret base anymore, is it? And she waves a hand dismissively. Well, I know you're fond of keeping secrets, but I think perhaps these lot should know of it. I suppose you're right. He snaps shut the book that he was writing in and turns the chair around. I've no doubt that Relda has been filling your heads with her side of the story. And I have no real interest in giving you mine. But her telling is undoubtedly mostly true. For now, it's important we keep working together. And he looks at her, and she looks at him. An argument for another time. He nods. And Irina, you can see, like, fidgets a little bit. We were told this is a safe place to spend the night. And he nods. Whatever enchantments that Kazan laid on the place prevent any outside observation for magical means. In fact, magic itself doesn't really work here. No one can scry. Those blasted hags can't get you. You're safe. But the only problem is, sooner or later you gotta go back outside. For
Yeah,
now,
I'm
though,
comfortable here.
we rest. And maybe we, well, fit our plans together a bit. Uh, and I hope you can forgive me for being deceptive about why I didn't want to call on her.
I think you're in the wrong, but I still understand. What you two have been through is more than most people should ever have to deal with. And you have a long, complicated history. I can understand and sympathize.
You can see him just kind of wince as you say you think he's in the wrong. Not so much like at you saying it, but at him thinking it, if that makes any sense. And he
A
just
part of him
nods.
knows that he's in the wrong, that he's a
Yeah.
stubborn old man, but he's not ready
Yeah.
to quite get over it yet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he just nods. What's more important is dealing with our big vampiric bastard. And I'll put it all aside if we can accomplish that goal. And
Well, if we can't do it, I don't think Barovia has many other chances.
he shakes his head. And actually, Relda will speak up. While there are many people who are certainly strong enough to rival Strahd's power, the abbot himself, for example, would put on a good show at the very least. It seems many souls here, human or otherwise, are almost trapped by the nature of this place in their own way, either unwilling or unable to step up and help. We'll need to push where we can. And I am glad that you have all come. There have been others, of course, in the many years that I've been here, but none that, well, seemed quite as competent or as level-headed. You would be surprised at how many go simply insane upon finding where they've found themselves stuck. Barovia can be a shock to the system. And Von Richten just kind of lets out a he turns back to the desk, scribbling away at something again. And I think, Ralmir, you're close enough to kind of like glance over his shoulder, though he is kind of hunched over the page. You can see he's clearly fiddling with some sort of map, and there's also a number of mechanical diagrams on the notebook page. And when I say map, blueprint is maybe a better word.
Like an architect blueprint.
Yeah.
Well, Yakobachi will definitely be like, well, it's settled then. Another addition to the pack. Praise Malar. And I'll ask her as
The
well.
pack is ever growing.
What do you know about these children of Malar to the north? What can you tell me about them? As he's referring to the lycanthrope that the abbot mentioned.
Von Richten looks
Irvir
out the
will
window,
quietly
which is... Go ahead.
Irvir just will quietly aside to Von Richten. You missed it. We asked the abbot about the Shrine of Mother Night prophecy. Pointed us to some lycanthropes up north.
And you can see him kind of putting two and two together in his head. Well, I've heard of several attacks by lichens in the woods, but not familiar with any particular single location they're known to, and Relda cuts across him. Perhaps because you do not listen as much to the locals as you think, hmm? But yes, there is a cave. Not one I've ever been able to get too close to, she says to you, Ervir. But there is a place the locals are not willing to venture when they hunt. And within that area, though hard to notice, a very suitable den for such people. And I do know from some of the offerings I have found in the woods around this area, they devote themselves to Mother Night. Though I do not know if she sees them in as good of a light as they see her. Are you prepared to deal with such creatures? She says, slapping her silver sword on her hip.
I'll whip out my arrowheads. Be like, I've been counting the days to hunt Malar's children.
Yep.
And yeah,
That's just
Romer,
a
you have a
thing he
silver
likes
rapier, right?
to do then?
Yep.
Pit
Yeah, and then
yourselves against each other?
I kind of just show off the silvered rapier that I had made up.
You can see she's actually kind of impressed. Fairly prepared then. But Ayakabachi, I don't know if you caught that from
Yeah,
Ervir.
survival of the fittest. Those who are
I had a feeling that was going to
choose
be
to
your
be-
answer.
those who choose to be the chosen of Malar have to earn it.
As long as you're not upset about what we may have to do.
Hunt's a hunt.
And at all that, you could just see Irina going, ay, ay, ay. Like, can't wrap her head around that concept.
And in the event that anyone, if it's spreadable, I trust you'll also not be upset if I counteract that.
Well, I was thinking about it myself, and yeah, if Malar's will say it's so, then I'll just do whatever he suggests. But if you feel to intervene, or if you think you should interfere, use your judgment.
We can't have you going on a rampage at crucial moments.
I'm actually curious. Let me check something.
Yakubachi's not gonna go out there with his neck exposed, with his, oh no, but but if it happens, it happens, is what he's kind of thinking.
It would unfortunately add to our problem pile and not our solution pile.
It's just That's Yakubachi.
I think you would know a little bit about lycanthropy from...
Just interacting with them, probably. Some of the higher ranking, like maybe priests or something, or like lycanthropes that can control their actual lycanthropiness,
Well, we've talked a lot about lycanthropy with the Ravens.
Yeah, a little bit obtusely, but I meant specifically how it is shared. And that what I was going to say is I think that Ayakabachi at the very least would know that it's only the bite that carries the potential to spread it, and it is not guaranteed. It comes down to how resilient the person being bitten is.
That's where I was kind of thinking of, like, the will of Malar, like the dice. If they decide that
Can't save or be afflicted.
Right.
It is, and it's not a particularly high con save either.
Yeah, I mean, that shit would derail your campaign so fast if you just had a whole party get afflicted with that shit. You're like,
Yeah.
well, guess we have a side quest now.
Yeah.
Wait, is lycanthropy curable?
I'm trying to find that, actually. I'm sure.
I think there's a time frame, but yeah, it is curable.
I would guess it's a remove curse before it
a certain
advances
amount of
to full
time,
lycanthropy.
Exactly, I think it's something like that.
Yeah. For some reason, the full fucking werewolf entry is not coming up, so I'm just checking.
It's a weird one too. It's a weird one because you got,
Either remove curse or disease. In Elder Scrolls, it's a disease.
I actually normally would go with disease as well. Normally.
That makes sense because it's kind of like rabies.
Lycanthropy acquired by an injury can be dispelled by removed curse, although a hereditary lycanthrope who inherits the condition from their family can only be cured via wish.
I got removed
Interesting.
curse.
Makes sense.
Yeah, might want to prep that for tomorrow.
Hang on.
I've actually had that prepped since I could learn it.
Oh, you got removed curse too? Nice.
Yeah,
It's a good
but
Double
if we
remove
both
curse.
have it, that means I can use a third level magic spell for something else too, if need be. Like if I need to get in there and tank some shit with Vamp Touch or Spear Guardians or whatever.
I'll be right back real quick, guys. Sorry.
Yep.
I assume that's our general plan, unless something crazy happens in this tower, is that after our long rest, we'll go adventuring into Werewolf Land
Yeah, I'm down
next
with that.
day.
I'm 100%. You know, Yakobachi be foaming at the mouth.
As much as I would like to grab hold person, it's another concentration spell that I would need that I don't know if I want to take. But our party's getting so big, bro. My bless isn't going this far.
Right? I guess there's a lot that has to go into it. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's a lot. It's pretty complex how the lycanthropy works. Actually, it's not that complex, but it's a pretty interesting article. I'll read it one day. You know, I don't want to.
Well, I mean, if it's stuff that you think Yakobachi would know, which I feel like he probably would, because isn't that like a whole big thing with Malar?
Yeah, it's a huge thing. A lot of people.
Although I don't
fucking
remember enough about his backstory to know that if he's like hung out with Malar temples or whatever.
He's probably maybe only found maybe one. He lived in Neverwinter Woods. I mean, how many are there, right? They probably be, especially if it's a bunch of lycanthrope, they're gonna be tucked away in some goddamn mountain. You know, kind of like this one.
Yeah.
But it says a big thing about it is alignment. So if it's your alignment is matched up with the alignment of the creature that's biting you, it changes like how it works.
Really? That's interesting. And that's 5e or is that new rules?
That's 5e. It's like based on like you can like have control of it, or like you just turn at one full moon a night or whatever, you know, one full moon of whatever that is, a month or week or whatever the moon phases are.
So I imagine if you match it, you have some better control over it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's still downfalls and stuff. I didn't really read the whole thing, but I imagine.
Yeah.
But because like there are like the highest level of like priests and stuff are lycanthrope that have like full control over their abilities. So I knew that there was, because I read about that, and I knew there were things like that. I'm sure Yakobachi's probably met one, you know, given a service or something, or in a hunt. I'm sure that's what their services are. So you see one talking like a human and shit.
Yeah, like if Yakobachi would know enough to be like, actually, this could not possibly hurt us. This would be nothing but a boon for me.
It could be something good for some people, but maybe bad for others if they're, you know. But then again, like
Yeah.
the risk too, right? They could have a different thing, and then the whole it's just, you know, now you're cursed. So it's one of those
Maybe,
things that, like, if it happens, it's just like it's gonna happen, but then like we'll kind of just like feel it out, and I think you'll know if it's like a bad situation or a good one, based on how Yakobachi reacts. So he's not gonna be mad if you cure some curses that are actually gonna affect him negatively.
maybe, you know, since you are a Malar follower, we can use some diplomacy. Maybe it doesn't have to turn into a bloodbath immediately.
I'm saying, especially if I could talk to
Okay,
him.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
We're just discussing lycanthropes, how much Yakubachi would know
Ah.
about them.
Fair enough. Yeah, I defer to you on that.
Well, I was telling Irvir, I was like, at some point Yakubachi would have made his way into some hidden cult, like church or some area that
Mhm.
these lycanthropes would be, and there's definitely different um, versions, because there's some that are kind of like beasts, but there's some that are like sentient. And I was
Mhm.
saying how like the higher priests, like the guys running the show, those were more like sentient type lycanthrope, where the ones kind of just following the orders on the hunt were more just like the beasts. And
Yes.
the big thing was just like that I was always kind of playing. I didn't mention this, but I was always thinking like, Yakubachi would go to these places and they'd be like, well, why is he not a lycanthrope? And they'd be like, well, if Malar wanted him to be a lycanthrope, he would be. So, don't question it, type of thing.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things that's like, if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's just one of those things that that just is. And
Fair.
so yeah, I was just trying to tell him like that, and how like the difference ends up coming down to like, first off, I'm sure like the power of the creature getting lycanthropy, but also like the alignment of the creature is what like affects like how it affects their mental state, if it makes them a crazy beast, if it like you know and that was just based off some bullshit I was just reading, really quickly while we were sitting here waiting. But
Mhm.
there's a bunch of things that go into it that make it different, and yeah, I guess Yakubachi would also talk about like their strategies in attacking. I'm sure they just like attack, like they try to surround you. They're gonna try and separate us. So just be sure to kind of stick together and don't get
More
surrounded.
wolf-like.
And definitely,
Yeah.
obviously, the bite is the worst part. So if we can keep a distance, that's great, too.
For sure.
Yeah. And we had decided that, we don't necessarily know how this lycanthropy will work, so we'll maybe play some of that by ear. I'm like, hey, you're a follower Malar. Maybe some diplomacy can be used. Maybe it doesn't have to be, immediate wartime.
Back on site.
Definitely true, assuming
Persuasive.
that they know who Malar is.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
But even without that, I feel like you could still go with like the we're kindred spirits. And I feel
Right.
like that's not even a lie coming from Ayakobachi.
Right.
He's a bit of a psychopath.
Maybe we'll take us on a hunt, and we have to go out and beat them in a traditional
Ooh, show him the
Malarian.
show him the blood spear.
Yeah. Check this
Urgir
out.
does have a Morning Lord symbol on his breastplate, but it hasn't seemed like Mother Knight and Morning Lord are adversarial necessarily. So I'm hoping that is not an issue.
Necessarily.
I don't think they are. At least if
It hasn't
I
seemed
remember.
like it.
They're just more. I thought it was more of when they went over it. That was more of like a yin yang kind of thing.
Mhm.
That's the vibe I got.
And so that's the thing. They offer very different promises, I suppose, to their followers, right? Like those who revere the Morning Lord are hoping for salvation, but Mother Night more preaches acceptance, if that makes any sense. Like, I cannot fix your situation, but I can offer you comfort in these dark
Yeah.
times. And those are not
Which,
diametrically opposed, right?
No. And also makes perfect sense for lycanthropes.
Right. And I think the other thing that I do want to add too is you're talking about like how would you react to it and all of that. My understanding has always been, and I think that Ayakabachi would probably know this too, that it all comes down to how you react to the curse, right? If you try and suppress it, that leads you to that uncontrollable, once a month you can't resist the call of the full moon. But those who embrace it learn to utilize it more. You learn to control when they shift, learn to shift more often than that. But that the curse does have a pull on, for above table explanations, your alignment.
It drops you down in alignment.
It pulls you towards the alignment of the type of
Ah.
lycanthropy that you have.
That makes sense.
One
One step or full alteration. Out of
It's
curiosity.
progressive.
Oh,
Yes. So eventually you will match what the alignment
gotcha.
is. However, not everybody is good to begin with.
Yeah.
So that pivot might be less significant for certain people. But yeah, so just worth pointing out. But to pull back down into the conversation where we just discussed, that there are lichens about. I, in this arena, don't really like the idea of just, well, diving headlong into the wolf's den, quite literally. Is there any way we could potentially scout this place before we were to head in? And I think Relda would look to you, Akabachi, before kind of shrugging. There are ways to hide oneself, but regardless of whether or not one can become invisible, she just kind of shrugs as though implying that's something she can do. Hiding one's scent and one's sound is difficult. I'm not certain I could go in myself, but well, there is an opportunity for an educational moment with young Narlug. If we take the time to rest, how would you like to see how the clairvoyance spell works?
And Narlug, like a happy dog, just gonna. Yes.
Spells. I love spells.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my
I
favorite
love
things.
spells I like.
Spells I like. I love spells I like.
Yeah.
Um,
Yagobachi would just nod his head too. With the combination of the invisibility and pass without a trace, that would get rid of my scent,
Yeah.
footsteps.
Mhm.
I'd definitely be able to scout that place.
Oh, pass without a trace. Gets rid of your scent
Well,
too.
I mean, if it says you can't be tracked except by magical means.
I
Any
mean,
creature that receives this bonus behind no tracks, no other traces. So I
that's
mean, your
true.
smell, your everything, it would leave no
Uh-huh.
trace of your existence.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh-oh, Frank cutting in and out. I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah, I hear you. You're kind of cutting out, Frank.
okay, so, but, better.
Yeah, now you're good.
Yeah, it's stabilized. It's just a
Okay.
moment.
Yeah, because you were walking around with a rotting hand for a few days, though, so
Yeah.
you'd be.
And not to mention, it's a bunch of lycanthropes, and I'm sure if my scent gets downwind, they'll be able to see me, smell me coming from,
Yeah.
way before I show up. Even if I am invisible, they'll smell me,
Mm-hmm.
I forget plus 10 to stealth checks.
It's pretty crazy. Well, it is up to you how you wish to approach the situation. I just thought perhaps we could look ahead a bit, and then
Definitely.
when it is time to actually make our approach, I like your line of thinking quite a bit.
We need to go outside the tower to use clairvoyance, right?
Indeed, and I will admit I have not memorized the spell for today. It would take me time to consult my notes in order to refresh it in my mind.
Narlug's patient.
Yeah, well, I'm ready for Yakobachi's patiently excited, just staring out the window, looking towards the looking towards the lake and the mountains.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
one
sorry
prophecy
to.
led us to. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh yeah,
One
by the way,
prophecy led.
Yakobachi would be like, hey, what about that necklace we got? Shouldn't you check that out, Narlug?
Oh, the holy
Yeah,
symbol.
we never really
Yeah.
talked
You never
about it.
identified it.
Oh, identify it? Oh yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
And there is a little like workbench over here too, if you want like a table to spread out your
I mean,
stuff
obviously we
on.
Yeah,
can't do it in
Narlug.
here, but
Oh, it's true. You can't cast it indoors.
I was
Nope.
thinking about maybe we can just
I mean,
look
it's
at it
only
and talk.
10 minutes though.
Yeah, go out. You
I
guys
could
are
just go
gonna go
slip
outside.
downstairs for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Esmeralda would be happy to watch, both to keep guard and to see how you work your magic.
Okay.
So if you do want to go outside, she will happily go down with you. And yeah.
What were you gonna say though, Irvir? I'm sorry.
That's not important.
Now I feel bad.
Well, what I was going to say is that I will be honest, the uh, actual visiting of the cave will probably be kind of long, and we have a couple spots of the roof that are leaking, which is what Jake came in for to get me. So I've got a little bit of time, but I gotta go help him with that eventually. So we can do the setup for this, but I think we'll pick up with the actual werewolf cave next time, if
That'd
that's
be
okay.
perfect. Yeah, it's a great place to pick it up.
But yeah, so let's real quick, Narlug. She will go back down the lift with you, and we'll show you out front. Like, it's getting dark now, but she'll lead you over to the wagon and light the lanterns that hang on the back, so there's like an area of light. And I would not worry too much. Most of the undead things that Strahd commands cannot reach us out here, even without the magical wards. They do not like such large bodies of water. Another reason for the narrowness of the bridge.
And Narlug is just kind of oblivious to the danger. Is more so focused on busting out this identify.
Fair enough. So you're going to cast it as a ritual?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you set up your little ritual space, and I don't know, you draw out the diagram, light your candles, whatever it may be. I don't know if you have a thought of how any of that looks. If not, that's fine, but I don't know if you
Pretty
pictured
straightforward,
how
like you said.
this
Just
magic
has
works.
like a little pen, draws out a little, ritual-looking sigil thing on the paper. Maybe
Sure.
light a candle or two that he has, not necessarily because he needs to, but he likes ambiance,
Of course.
And
And
he's just
is
kind of sitting there cross-legged in this wagon, just with a little table in front of him.
And as she watches you work, she nods along approvingly a couple times. Interesting. I assume mostly self-taught, but impressive nonetheless.
Narlug's gonna nod and just keep on, doing his thing.
Sure. And then, she stays mostly quiet while you work, but as the glow kind of settles on the item and you are, assaulted by the knowledge of everything that this thing does, she, politely claps. I think we could certainly share a thing or two. Thank you for letting me observe. But yeah, go ahead, and you now have access to the full description of that item, which I think is still in your inventory, right? You guys should have that under
Yes.
treasure. But yeah, you now know all of those extra properties, which I think are immediately, obviously, like eye-poppingly good. And you would know it's going to temporarily lose its magic when you go back inside. But yeah, all of the extra effects of that are now something you're aware of. Are you going to share any of that with her, or are you just going to wait and share it with the group?
I'll share it with everybody when we're all together.
Okay. So she will open the door again. She will mimic the sequence of hand motions and unlock the door. What are all of the rest of you up to for that 10 minutes?
I'll just be eagerly staring out that window, looking at that lake. Maybe
Fair
sharpening
enough.
something.
Since we're probably getting ready to hunker down for the night, or we'll probably be stripping off some of his gear and like oiling it and maintaining it and whatnot.
Fair enough.
Probably propping up in a corner over here or something.
I respect it. So, Ayakobachi, if you are anxiously staring out the window and you are fully focused on that intent, I think you would feel. I assume that the spear is slung in your pack somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe I had some sharpening the spear.
Oh, even better. I think you would feel it kind of vibrate a little bit in your hand, not like a consistent buzz like your phone going off, but like an occasional twitch, like it's excited as well. And as you continue like focusing on this thing you're going to do, I think eventually, though you only hear it occasionally, you would hear the voice in your head again. And it will let out a low, kind of rattling chuckle. And it only says a few words, but you might find them interesting. It will be very interesting to see what my descendants have made of themselves.
And then you just hear Yakobachi like be like, very interesting. Just to himself, kind of repeating it a little bit.
Or if your knows better and ignores it.
Just kind of like a side eye. I'm gonna back to polishing the armor. I think during all this, Irina would at least glance over at what Von Richten is doing. And he would look up and see she's watching and just kind of like relax a little bit. What? That's the wrong voice. What little bit I know of the interior of the dungeons. I haven't been able to make much more than a rudimentary foray, but best to keep good notes and best to keep ones that can be read in case I were to fall before they were useful. And he still seems like obviously very down in the dumps, and she just kind of gently puts a hand on his shoulder and gives it a squeeze. And he almost like winces at that, just not expecting the kindness. Once he just kind of gives him a little pat, and I know it's complicated, but whether or not you've made mistakes in the past, I've been very thankful for what you've done for me. And just keep that in mind as well. And she will walk off, just to kind of add more wood to the fire.
We did explain to her that you were our ally and friend already, before she went on her own little explanation of things, and to make sure you were safe before we allowed her to say her side for whatever that's worth.
And he kind of winces and shakes his head. Played me like a damn fiddle, which she always could, of course. Then he fishes out the necklace that you heard her snap something on. And it is a little locket that now the front is like dented inward. She made the damn thing. Carried it all these years. It'll take me time to say it to her, but truth be told, I never felt particularly good about the way we parted. I had my reasons, of course, to distrust her people. It's not as though it was entirely a hate of my own making. I know I was in the wrong. I'm glad she was at least willing to hear you out. And you were willing to hear her out, in turn. He shakes his head. Spend too much bloody time alone, you forget how to handle this sort of thing. And he just kind of lapses into silence unless anybody follows up on that.
We've already seen who you were in isolation change a bit just from, I won't say better company, but company. While your past is quite grim and you've had your share of tribulations, I'm sure Both of you would be more than welcome to hear an apology and to get over it. You're both very eager to do so.
He nods. We'll get there eventually.
Of that, I'm sure.
And just kind of like starts a sentence and stops, shakes his head.
I think you two should just get a nice hug in.
Is that persuasion?
Yeah.
11. He kind of snorts. You know, he's a curmudgeonly old man and just shakes his head. Well, you saw how that went earlier. At least the start one. Like I said, we'll get there. It's just old wounds can feel raw, even after a long time. I'm sure we'll both feel better in the morning after the shock of seeing each other's again's worn off a bit. But again, and the chains start up again as the lift begins to come back up. And he just kind of hurriedly and quietly says, well, I appreciate all of you being able to see what little good is left. But yeah. And that brings Relda and Narlug back into the room.
What's up, homies? Got some knowledge for y'all.
And he does. And yeah, I don't know if you would just kind of rattle off literally what's on the sheet, but everyone is now aware of that. And if you're saying it openly to everybody, I think Von Richten is just like constantly, every time you list off a new thing that it does, he's just like blown away.
Things the bee's knees, dude. Item 9 exists.
There is a reason I figured that Strahd would be coming to recover it. And Von Richten just shakes his head. I think he may still come and try and recover it off of your corpses if he learns that you've got it. That's, I think you ought to keep that in your back pocket till it's really necessary. Otherwise, that's going to make you a big target. In fact, I might even store the thing somewhere like the tower itself where it can't be gotten at. Until you're ready to use it, anyway.
Thanks to fees from hunting
Alright, it's not a bad idea. What if he can sense it?
1,000 bighorn sheep in Colorado. As a biologist with Colorado Parks and Wildlife, I see success stories like
Is it truly safe in the tower?
Colorado Wildlife Council.
Far as I know, nothing's ever gotten in here other than Ralda and I. Well, now you all. And Kazan himself, I suppose, in ages long past. But I've had that blasted vampire try and get in here, and he can't do it. Don't know what it is, don't know if it's because it's a private residence, don't know if it's because the magic saps him of enough strength that, or the anti-magic saps him of enough strength that he can't just beat the door down. But last time he tried, he got several lightning bolts for his trouble, and he fucked off back to the castle. Far as I know, this is just about the most fortified place in all of Barovia.
Well, it certainly wouldn't help us tomorrow.
It's just a liability.
And even if he were to get in here, well, magical senses won't work, and there's plenty of little hidey holes. If you're willing to stash it, I just think it might be a good idea. That's all. far as it sounds, though, you're the only one that can use the damn thing, Arvir.
Any other good clerics or paladins in the room?
Not here, and I certainly wouldn't trust, well, Father Donovich to carry the damn thing.
No, fortunately, it is probably safest here or with the abbot. So here it is.
He nods.
Even that, something about that abbot
Oh, he's far
gives me
more
a
than a
strange feeling.
little bit touched in the head, I think. And Irina snorts. If you were to ask me, it's far more than a little bit. He's coherent enough in small doses, but, well, you didn't see the nightmares that he keeps in the other wings of the abbey. His pets that he lets off the leash are... I can't do both voices, this is really fucking me up. The pets that he lets off the leash are, well, the presentable ones.
Mm.
I'll practice that in our time. They're too tough to switch back and forth between cleanly, sorry. Our time off, that is.
So what? So like they got like cropped ears too, not just the tails.
Bastard.
Oh. No.
He did take a putrefied hand from Yakobachi and said he'd use it.
He did.
Suffice to say, it is more than just cats and dogs and bats that he's used for parts. I think you saw one with several pieces of spider. There are true nightmares that he has locked away. And you can imagine what damage it does to a person finding out that that is what they look like now. I think somehow he believes in this mission of his to save these souls, but saved or damned is a very thin line, I think.
They may be better off spending more time as a soul out in the ether and being reborn with a blank slate.
She nods. I will not lie, there were times that I debated whether or not they may very well just be better off dead. I think if he's pulled them out of whatever purgatory the fog had them trapped in, there is a chance that reincarnation could be their next destination if they were freed from their mortal shackles once again. But I have a feeling the abbot would not react kindly to such a thing, and I certainly cannot go toe-to-toe with the man myself.
Now, even if it were all of us, that would be suicide.
She looks around the room and at Von Richten. With enough preparation, perhaps not, but there are other things we should take mortal risks with first, I think.
I don't like the idea of trying to kill a Deva either. But for now, he's an ally, if nothing else.
Indeed, it is probably just good to keep in mind that if he must be removed, we ought to have a plan. And Von Richten just started working on one the second I saw what he really was. Had to be a new one, though. Don't think I've ever had to slay a Deva before. At least not knowingly. And the two of them share the smallest of little smiles for a brief moment before they both seem to like remember they're supposed to be mad at each other and look away.
I just like look at both of them though, and I just smile.
They did once work side by side. She told you, you know, they were a team. So maybe that's the solution, right? Just force them to work together again until they remember that they don't only hate each other. Right. Well, perhaps I'll put on some stew. We have a meal we sleep, we get an early start. If I had to guess, if
You
we
need help
wanted,
warming water?
sure.
And then I bust out my little kettle.
Your little instant kettle.
Did somebody say hot water?
And she's actually very impressed by that. It's a clever little bit of artificing. Huh. And like, after it does its thing and you pour the water into the pot to get it like going faster, she kind of flips it over if you'll let her and like takes a look at how the magic actually works. Huh. I've never seen such a thing. Do it again if you don't mind.
Yeah, just pour some more.
And yeah,
Fill
she's
it up and
just
pour.
clearly fascinated by this little gizmo. And yeah, it's like a super minor magic item, but like you can see gears turning in her head as like whether or not she can replicate this effect. But yeah, I think Octavio's still like very standoffish, but is not overtly an asshole to her. He mostly just kind of like avoids eye contact and like quietly interjects if he has something important to say. But I think you all would share a meal. And then there's plenty of space up here where it's nice and warm to lay out bedrolls, and at least you'll be under a roof and in a safe place. Um, but I think we would pick up the next morning unless there are things people want to do tonight.
Nah, I don't want to do anything magical in here. I think it would just mess with it. So I'll just patiently wait at the window and watch guard, and then get my 4 hours at some point.
Okay, fair enough. I think in the morning.
Is this long rest thing?
Yes, definitely a long rest. And you will all level up as well, though I
Oh,
don't
geez.
want to derail to that right now because like I
Yeah,
don't I don't think it's like super
it's not pertinent for
yeah,
whatever we're gonna do now for the next 15 minutes or
exactly.
whatever.
Um let's see. Making sure I understand this. Blah blah blah. Okay. Um yes, we will handle that, but I do want to say the first thing that uh Esmeralda would want to do in the morning is cast that clairvoyance.
Okay.
Um, and what she would do is take anybody who wants to watch, with the explanation that you will not be able to fully see as I see, but there will be reflections that might be visible, and they will describe, as I cast the spell, what I witness. I am afraid I am nothing but a novice, so we will get one, perhaps two vantage points. I do not wish to use all of my capabilities for third order magic for the day, but it will give us a better idea of what the immediate inside of this cave looks like. Thankfully, I have seen the outside before, and therefore may use it as a target. Um, but she will lead anyone who wants to observe
Yeah.
downstairs. She will open up her wagon,
No,
and
much.
actually has kind of like you get the idea it's partly for show, but inside the back is like a area that is curtained off where there's a little hammock strung up, but the rest of it is kind of laid out as though it's a fortune teller's wagon. Similar to what you've seen with Madame Eva. And in fact, dealt out on the table is a deck of Taroka cards, the same thing that Madame Eva uses, and also a crystal ball. And she will seat herself in front of the crystal ball and place her hands on either side of it and focus. And as she speaks the incantation, her eyes snap open and they are pure white. But the crystal ball shows a distorted image of what she's seeing. And almost as though it's like zooming in to a single point, to the northwest of where you are, you see the opposite shore of the lake, and the view swoops down and past a large cave mouth, which almost naturally appears to be like wolf shaped. It's not perfect, it hasn't been carved, but there's a clear pointed snout and stalactites that look like fangs, and even a little bit of the sweep of like the brow ridge of a canine forehead. And the sensor settles just barely inside of that. I see. Oh, it is far more of a properly developed dwelling than I expected. And all of you can see hints of this. A more like properly smoothed cave floor, as though someone has gone through with stoneworking tools and leveled this out. And there are torches in iron brackets hammered into the walls. You see a number of figures coming and going, and it's almost as though the sensor is kind of like stuck to the roof of the cave. And while you can't quite focus as well as she can, there is a split two ways, left and right. Deep, dark shadows inside. But I see so many more than I expected. 10 different moving figures coming and going. And it is possible there may even be more. The dark is hard to penetrate. And as you watch these people come and go, mostly they're either coming back in looking tired, as it is now shortly after dawn, and you know most of these would probably be largely nocturnal. But a few heading out already in wolven shape, kind of pad out into the daylight, and you lose sight of them as they head out of the cave. But after a moment, a more almost, I don't want to say priestly, because their definition probably aligns more with what you would think Ayakobachi thinks of as priestly, dressed in furs and kind of a ragged robe, and wearing a very simple bone crown. A older figure kind of hobbles out, resting on a staff. And they stand in the mouth of the cave and they take a deep breath and drink in the surroundings. And Narlag, you spot immediately as they go through the motions to cast Detect Magic. And at first, it looks like they're just sweeping down low and below. And they take a few steps outside of the cave and you lose sight of them until they return. And you see their eyes, the faint blue glow of the spell still working, lock on the sensor. And with a flick of their wrist, a small bolt of flame shoots up and shatters the effect. And Relda kind of jolts back. Well, I suppose a few of them have some arcane tricks. But I think this is still useful information. This seems almost a village, not a scattered group of disparate wolves. A pack with human tendencies. Maybe your idea, Ayakobachi, of beginning with negotiation is not a bad idea.
They're savage brutes, but if what I saw was how they live, then they must have some order in their ranks.
We just fireball the cave.
We might have to.
You get the feeling it's way too big to do that. Like, when I described like that opening area, just like the mouth of the wolf and then the two like forking paths, that's like probably 90 feet across on its own.
Oh.
Yeah. So just so you know, it's like a fairly extensive cave system. I will leave it all up to you. We shall be prepared for both outcomes, of course. There is no way I walk into that cave without a silvered weapon on my hip. But if silver tongues are the first attempt, I support that decision. I say perhaps we make our preparations and then journey for the cave. And I think we'll pick up there next time. But yes, everybody, please level up. If you have any questions for me,
One question. What
go ahead.
type of creature was the... You said it was a large creature. What type of creature was the one in Van Richten's card?
Oh, it is a, I believe it's a panther. Hang on.
My question is, should I take
No,
resilient or
it
should
is
I
a,
gain ASI?
I'm taking ASI 100%.
that's your choice. It is a saber-toothed tiger, my guy.
Okay, now I think that's past my range.
CR3.
Because what I am going to suggest for the next Ayako Wild Shapes is a small, like a regular owl, a flying bird of some kind, so either like a giant eagle or a giant owl, and then the dire wolf that my pops had. Those would be the three that I want to add to the list. And maybe some other better swimming
Classic.
creature as well. I'll probably find a better
Mhm.
CR1 swimming creature I can change into. Yeah, I've had this planned out. I'm going straight. I have a list of stuff I want to change into. I just have to go look at it.
I'm struggling to think of CR1 swimming creatures. There have to be a few.
I got you. Yeah, I'm definitely going wisdom. I have to. My wisdom's been so bad. So CR1, it would be a giant octopus is okay.
Okay.
A giant toad.
Well. Ribbit.
Right.
Does the crocodile not have a swim speed?
It does, but it's just like a half CR. I'm sure those things
Fair.
have more HP or like more abilities or something.
Yeah, the octopus probably has like an ink cloud.
Yeah, and probably some type of grapple thing. Yeah, exactly. It's probably big. So also too, like if I wanted to like get the homies on the back and swim out of there for at least 60 seconds, you can make me huge and or at least gigantic or whatever, and we can skedaddle.
Very fair point.
I think I have all the spells I want on my spell list. I just have to just prepare them. Because now I can do 12 spells. Before I could only do 10. With ASI though. I mean, especially if you don't have
What's
18.
our proficiency?
It's gonna boost up now. It's gonna go to no, it's still +3.
4? Oh, it's still 3?
It's at +4 at 9.
Ah.
But now we get everyone who's a full caster will get a second 4th level spell. So when you cast your ability that has concentration, it goes away after one turn. You might have another chance to use it again.
Very true.
The pain.
That's why I don't know if, like, I don't cast a lot of stuff. I do cast some stuff. Like,
I mean, I guess it would be either
Bless is not reliant on my wisdom, but it is reliant on my ability to maintain it.
And then like you could always
but
do
then like
con to
vampiric touch, I need to concentrate and hit.
And like even
and
the sacred
raising
flames,
your wisdom will increase all of your saves by 1 as well.
Your sacred flames and your
your DC goes up and your spell attack goes up.
Mm-hmm.
It is a tough decision. Don't get me wrong. You are already a warcaster, right?
Yes.
You would also get more spells prepared because you get 1 more in wisdom, which means 1 more spell you could prepare each day. That's what true. I'm getting 2 spells now because I went 2 in wisdom, so I have 18 wisdom now. So now I can prepare 12 spells instead of my original 11, which is pretty sick.
Next ASI is at 12. We might hit 12, right?
I think a 10 is what we're
You'll
gonna.
probably
10, 11.
you if you do the full clear. God, there's not a good way to non-spoiler talk about this. You could end the mod at a certain point, but there is an obvious post game, as it were.
Okay.
If you do that, you will probably be 12 by the end.
I would say at least 11's cool because then you get 6th level spells and that's when shit starts getting crazy.
Yes. Like,
Because I could take the ASI now and grab the feat later if we think we're gonna end up at a higher level, and then not feel too bad about that.
Wait, you said it's at 12 where you could learn the feed instead,
So
or
you're a rogue.
At any ASI.
So Frank, you're a rogue, so you're actually special. You're gonna an ASI at 8 and at 10 and at 12 because you're a rogue. So you get a few more. Than
is that rogue or fighter?
It's both of them.
Really?
Rogue's weird like that. Rogue doesn't get the early one because fighter gets the one at level 6. But rogue, because I'm playing a rogue in my campaign on Saturday.
Yeah, I've never played a higher level rogue.
Yeah,
so
at 8 you get an ASI, 10 you get an ASI, and 12 you get an ASI. Pretty cool.
damn.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
so like I don't know if I should do the ASI though, or
What's your dex? Is it 18?
yeah.
Sometimes 20
20 is the cap. So
yeah. Unless there's something out there you think you need really bad right now that you've really been struggling with. Like, what's the one thing that's been killing you, you know? And there's a feat out there that can stop that.
Yeah, that's true. I just see that I could pick Lucky.
that is true.
Everybody
Lucky
loves
is very
Lucky.
good.
Lucky, Alert, Mobile, those are all really good for a rogue.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see mobile.
Mobile makes it so that you get 10 feet of movement, but the best part is that when you attack anything, even if you hit or miss, they can't opportunity attack you. So the little run in, stab, run out with a dash bonus action, getting 80 feet of movement every turn, running in, running out, stabbing, running in, running out. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Oh,
Turns your bonus
when you
action into a dash, not into a
disengage, so you get more distance.
disengage.
Yeah. It's a pretty good feat.
yeah, where you make a melee attack against the creature, you don't provoke opportunity attacks from that creature for the rest of the turn, whether you hit or not.
Yep.
Really good for
That's
like
pretty
the
cool.
run in and poke strat if you want to try to do that without getting your shit wrecked by being too close.
Yeah.
Alert's
Yeah,
really
your
good.
speed increases.
Lucky's always amazing too. I mean, just having the ability to do that, super good.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times though where it's like I might fuck up a deception or persuasion roll.
Right. Yeah, and honestly,
Although bumping up my
that's a better way to use it too, because like it sucks when it's like, oh, you know, pass this wisdom save. It's like DC 18, and you roll and you fail. Like I'm gonna use lucky, and you roll and you fail again anyway. It's like, well, fuck. You know?
yeah.
It's nice on those
Yeah,
charisma based ones, because then it's like there's less stakes, you know.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know, mobile sounds really good though.
Mobile's really cool,
Especially
yeah.
because the speed increase by 10 is good.
Especially for
we
me,
use dash.
with playing with you too, as you're playing Realmir, it always seems like you're more stabby than shooty. So if you're gonna be more stabby, then why not go with something that helps you do that? You know.
Yeah.
Do mobile.
I think
Alert seemed
mobile is
kind of cool too.
Alert is also very good.
Just let you go first. No surprises.
+5 to initiative.
And people
pretty
forget
cool
about this
too.
one. Being invisible and getting attacked while you have alert doesn't give them advantage. So if something tries to attack us while it's invisible, you won't have to worry about taking advantage on those attacks. But people forget about that one all the time. I gotta remind my player all the time about that one.
Yeah, that
I might wait to level up to think about it.
Yeah, no rush. I just want you all to know you have the ability to do so before next session.
I've preemptively done it, and this is gonna be my second, 4th level spell. I think it's an awesome spell, and I think it'll come in handy.
Yeah. What's observant?
It'd be great for making cover or making a hallway we need to get into, or creating something that we might need. So there's always gonna be stone.
Could have
around.
undone that wall of stone without a roll.
Right, exactly.
Are there any other good +1 Constitution feats? So unfortunately, I'm at 14. So if I take the proficiency in Constitution stave, it doesn't actually raise my Constitution score.
Right. Other than just like taking tough, what else is a good con increase other than resilience? There's stuff like obviously the weird stuff like oh wait, what type of weapon do you use? You use like a long sword, right? It's that's piercing damage, or what is that?
Slashing.
Slashing. Slasher I think lets you raise your con. It's a weird ass feat though. Slasher is strength or dex, excuse me. And then when you hit a creature with slashing damage, you reduce the speed by 10 feet, and when you hit a critical, it has grievous wounds and it has disadvantage on all its attack rolls. It's a bit of a weird one. What else? Let me just go. Feats that boost con.
Just heads up, I do have a barbecue I'm going to on Labor Day.
Yeah, I figured we were not playing next
People
week,
were gonna
but
be
we
doing
would
something,
play
right?
the week.
Yeah, I'm
after,
available
so-
the 8th.
I need to make sure. I think Brandon goes home that day.
Okay.
Okay, so
You
chef
want to
is one of
tentatively
them.
plan on it, Mike?
Let's see. I have his fly here. Oh no, he doesn't go home until Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So it'll have to be on the 15th, correct?
Yeah, so I will be out the 8th.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a little bit before we get to fight some lichens.
Unfortunately, but yeah,
It's okay. It's worth the wait.
I will be available the 15th. I have people who are leaving town that morning, but I'll be available to play at night. I have that day off, so I'll have all day to recover. It's going to be a fucking wild weekend. 2-day EDM festival, and then, Mike, we're going to see Sunny Day Real Estate on Sunday. So we get some Midwest emo to cap off our
So
EDM.
there are a massive amount of these that are
Got like EDM
restricted.
peeps.
They're restricted to
I'm
like.
gonna bounce off. I'll accept the
Feast day.
event later.
Yeah,
there's
I'm posting it. Whoop, okay.
there's a ton of these that are exclusive to races. So
Yeah.
there is also one. It's called the. I don't think you have to be a dragon for this one. Arrogant Dragon Mark. You might have to be a dragon.
That's a Eberron feat.
Yeah, that is an Aberrant feat. That's exactly what it says. So that one's out. So yeah, it'd be those ones. Chef, Durable, Crusher, Tough, and Tavern Brawler. Tough doesn't actually boost con. It just it just gives you more HP. But like Tavern Brawler, Durable, Crusher, and Chef all increase your con. And I just want to say, Irver cooking up some dope ass fucking holy meals for us. I'm just, I'm not against it.
I couldn't help myself. I just ended up picking Lucky.
It's a great feat. It'll pay off.
I
It
figured,
is good.
I figured like Lucky would be good for RP roles. So
During a short rest, you can cook special food provided the ingredients to cook.
Lucky is the bane of DMs everywhere.
Right?
I know it
Lucky
is. That's why
silvery
I kind of wanted
barbs.
to pick.
We get an extra 1d8 hit points when we heal during a short rest, and 1 hour of work when you finish a long rest. You can cook a number of treats equal to your proficiency bonus. These treats last for 8 hours. Creatures can use a bonus action to eat one of them and gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. Chef de la Hervire, dude.
It's not very many temporary hit points.
No, but it's free.
Crusher, if you use like a mace or something, that could work. And then Durable's kind of a weird one too, in my opinion. That one's only good if you
Only
use
idea is that I am giving up plus another addition to wisdom because I'd have to take 2 feats to get this constitution bonus.
Right, yeah, 2 separate, yeah, exactly. Because you're thinking about taking Resilient, right? And then the
Yeah.
one that I just listed would be like the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
So let's see. Let me look up Resilient.
Yeah, and if I get critted,
I took Resilient, actually. I have it right here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just nice. I mean, I still failed my damn saving throw, but, I mean, it's nice to have. Especially if you have Warcaster with it, that's pretty crazy. I don't think you'll ever...
He does have
saving-
Warcaster.
Like, you'll never drop a saving throw. It'd be insane.
I'll never say never.
Right?
Because it still is only adding my
Double
proficiency to it, but
Double nat ones.
it really does push it far off the board.
What were you going to say, Frank?
Oh yeah, I forgot that you can use if I get like critted though, like a lucky it.
Yeah, yeah, it's great for like
Could
you, especially for like the crits or like shit like that, or like when shit like that for sure, or like when you
It's
roll a
very
nat
good.
when you roll like a nat 1 on a death save, because there's like implications for that. You could just boom lucky
Yep.
that shit. You know what I'm saying? Shit's really nice for the things you want to avoid the bullshit that like it's just the dice. You know what I mean?
right. I figure if it could get us out of a situation with charisma stuff, then probably at level 10, I'll
Especially, I mean,
probably just do.
you've seen how we play too. Like there'll be days we don't even get into combat really. So just blow those bad
Yeah.
boys on
Yeah.
conversations and just use them, because why not? You know what I mean? We spend a lot of time role playing
Yeah.
anyway. We try to. I was gonna say too, DM. I really love the role playing of Van Richten kind of opening up a little bit. That was fantastic. I was gonna say something,
Thank
but I
you.
felt it was a little out of place for Yakubachi to get like sentimental. So I was like, you know what? I'll let it slide.
Mhm. I do my best to make my characters feel like people, you know?
Yeah,
I try. I really value RP, so
I do too. And I just want to say I appreciate it.
thank you.
But
And
yeah,
I'm
And it
glad you
makes
guys have been
everything
on
feel
board for that.
lively.
right. Now
Mhm.
I gotta upgrade all of these. I got some token making to do. I gotta upgrade
Mhm.
all these beasts. They all get 1 in their ability to hit and 1 in all their ability. Yeah, it's just gonna be their hit, and it's gonna be that's it. They just get +1 to attack, which is a little bit disappointing, but that's fine. They get better as I get a better proficiency bonus, so that's no big deal. Because now I'm +7 to hit. Yeah, okay. So
Mike, what I will say with your choice is it is a lot of investment just to get the extra point of con to bump your HP by 15 or whatever. If you're like at the
Yeah.
absolute upper end here, Resilient is good on its own for sure. But you could also just, if HP is the concern, you could just take the con, and you will still get a 1 point increase in those saves. It won't be your full proficiency, but even at 12, is your proficiency what? 5?
at 12,
Or do you not even hit
it
5
would
at
be
12?
yeah, it'd be +4 at 12. It's the last level of +4.
So,
And if you think about it this way too, like you could take 2 ASIs of getting the feats, or you take +2 in Wiz, +2 in Con, and you get the +2 you wanted anyway in Con, and you have +2 in Wiz. You
that's
know?
kind of what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what I was working my way to, is you might want to consider just taking the con adjustment, and then you get the hit points and a slight boost to your saves if you're worried about being a frontliner. But I would probably not forego the wisdom personally, but you could.
I mean, it makes your undead, it makes your turn undead better. It makes your spells better. You know.
I don't really want to forego the wisdom. I mean, my plan was still to do the wisdom at some point.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be now. I'm just saying because
I would
realistically
say
you're going to
now
get
is
2
probably
more.
better than resilient because the proficiency bonus isn't as high.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
If I raise my con, my HP is not retroactively boosted, is it?
It is retroactive.
You'll gain the 12 HP, or excuse me, at level 12, of course. Excuse me. If it was now,
Yeah.
it'd be whatever your level is.
Yeah, no, it is retroactive, which is nice.
That's a
Makes
nice
those
change.
later
It didn't used
level
to be like that,
con.
right?
I'm not sure if it did in 3.5 or not, but I know in Pathfinder it is. It's retroactive like that. But yeah. All right, I gotta go
Yeah.
see about a leaky roof. But thank you for playing, guys.
Thank
I had
you.
fun.
Yep.
Me too.
Thanks for hosting.
Always a good time. Yep. Y'all have a good one.
I got tokens to make. I'm gonna be a dire wolf, Frank. And I
Direwolf.
can fly now.
Oh, that's cool.
Hell yeah. Your dire wolves are pretty dope. Just be a big chunk. I'll be 37 extra HP.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
What's your HP normally now?
59.
What am I at now after leveling up? Yeah, I'm at 59 too.
Yeah, I think we
I've
both
just
have.
been doing I'm doing average every
And
level. I'm not. I'm not.
we both have two in our constitution, so we have the same hit dice, so it makes sense. If we take average every turn, it's gonna be the same thing. You had more for me at first, but I started with 13, but then I put 1 into it with resilience, so now I have 14. A couple levels ago. Alright, yeah, that was pretty easy actually. So I just gotta make a dire wolf, and like a giant eagle's actually pretty fucking badass, dude.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, they're already large, so like, if I get enlarged, like if somebody makes me big, for 60 seconds, I could probably carry the entire team. We can get the fuck out of there. You know, I can go pretty far in 60 seconds.
Is there a larger size or creature size than large?
Yes, it's huge. And then gargantuan. So like large
I
is
was
like
gonna say, isn't like the Tarask bigger than a city?
yeah. So like after gargantuan, it's like based on like the DM, but like as far as the squares are concerned, and like that's the thing. I have that one chart I showed you before, Frank. Like a frost giant is considered huge, right? But it's still way bigger than like another creature that's huge, but still like huge. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a
Right.
so
It's
like
like
so like
it's
large
like a
is
weight bracket kind of thing.
medium is 1 square, large is 2 squares, huge is 3 squares, and gargantuan is 4 squares across. So like 20 feet on each side. So like, and then like a Tarask will be 4 by 4, but it could be the size of a whole city too. You know what I mean? So it's just based on how the DM wants to like visually
Oh, so
show
then
it.
you're just at kaiju status at that point.
Yeah, like there are actual people who made kaiju monsters with kaiju mechanics that you can't just like attack them because like you're the size of their toe. So it's like you gotta like do this shit and open up their weak point and all this shit. It's really really cool. But the Tarask, if you like saw it on a map, it'd be 4 by 4. You know what I mean? But it's like it could be the size of a city. It's just based on like how the DM wants to do it. You know?
4x4 is pretty big.
Yeah, it's 20 by 20 feet. I mean, that thing's fucking the size of a building, if not bigger. You know, I don't know if Godzilla would be a good. Godzilla would definitely be like a kaiju. Like a Tarask, I think would be more like a fucking. I don't know. He'd definitely like be walking through skyscrapers and shit, but probably like with them and not like at his shins. But I mean, if the DM wanted to make one that was like that big, that would be cool. Because like that's the whole point of a Tarask. It's like a city destroyer. It's like a giant weapon that just like destroys the fuck out of cities, and just places in general. It's got a bunch of abilities to like fuck up objects.
Can you shapeshift into anything that big?
No, because the CR is too high. So like it depends on like I bet you if it like true polymorph, you could change somebody into something pretty cool. There are people like higher level druids and stuff have stuff where they can wild shape and not wild shape, but like they can actually like it's like true transform or true polymorph where you can actually turn into like CR 21 monsters and shit like dragons. I had a player who did that, played with once. It's pretty cool. It's like you have to get really high level though, like level 8 spells and shit, level 9 spells. But you can turn some people. I bet you I wouldn't be surprised if somebody found a way to turn somebody into a Rask. It's like a CR 30 monster. I'm sure there's a way. You just gotta have certain probably something.
That sounds like post games.
Yeah, that's like some ninth level. But once you get to like 8th and ninth levels, like that's why I was saying 6th level spells, Frank, like break the game open. Once you get to like 7th and 8th and ninth level spells, this shit is so insane. It's like you can just change the reality basically. So, and fighters can attack 4 times. That's the you know what I mean. Wizards can fucking alter fucking reality and I do want to make these, but I want to get some food too. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm about to eat. I will talk to y'all later.
Yep, I'm gonna level this up eventually. But yeah, I definitely went 2 whiz. Let me actually write that on my character sheet so I don't forget. I like to remember what I
All
have
right,
in my peace, brother.
later.
Peace.
Yo. It's actually just about to get some food.
Draft tonight.
Yeah, I thought Theo just posted me all the shit.
Did he show you my team?
No. What pick were you?
Fourth?
I thought Theo said
Third?
he was fourth. Who'd you pick third?
I was third then. My first round pick was Derrick Henry.
Okay. Because they took JJ and Chase right away?
Yeah.
Saquon fell? I wonder why he didn't take Saquon.
I could have had Saquon Barkley. Almost definitely could have had him. That's who I was supposed to pick. That's who they were telling me to pick.
You
I don't listen to ESPN.
can't.
I don't listen to
You
ESPN, bro.
can't do it.
I was not going to have
I
an
gotta go to
auto
Texas
draft.
I don't want to go to Texas Roadhouse and wait all this time for this food. But
So why
want it.
don't you just order it and go pick it up when it's ready?
Because they're gonna want the money up front, and I ain't got no money on my card.
See, that's your problem. You broke his white motherfucker, I know.
It's cash, bro. I got cash. I got cash, bro. Which means I gotta walk up to the window, order, and then wait.